Hello, dear students. You're welcome to lesson 3. This is Senior 1 Biology, and today we are looking at plants and animals. I remember in the previous lesson we looked at different life processes, and we said that plants and animals perform these different life processes because they are living things. So, in this lesson, we are going to try to differentiate between animals and plants. Basing on their life processes. When you look at the animals and plants, you realize that there is a slight difference in the way that they perform these different life processes. By the way, which life processes do you remember? We looked at which life processes? We looked at respiration, nutrition, excretion, irritability, and many other life processes. There are about 7 of them. So, when you look at plants and animals, you realize that there is a slight difference in the way these organisms perform these life processes. And in this lesson, we want to find out how we can differentiate between the way animals perform the life processes and also the way plants conduct these life processes. So our key question in this topic, in this lesson, is that how do plants and animals differ in their life processes? That is our key question. Now, to answer this question, I want you to do the following. You need to have a plant, probably a potted plant, like that one. You can pick it from your compound. And then you also need to get an animal. You can get one which is not harmful. For example, you can get a small ant, a sugar ant, and place it in a glass bottle, and then you observe the two organisms, the plant in a pot and also an ant. So when you observe these two, you should be able to write observations or what you see in the way they perform the life processes we talked about. Will there be any difference? That's what I am interested in. So you keep on noting down. For example, excretion. How does the ant excrete? How does the plant excrete? What about movement? What is the difference between the movement in animals and that one in plants? So that is what we are interested in. So in your free time at home, please get these two organisms and compare them. You can get an ant or any animal that is easier for you to catch at home, and then also get a plant which is potted or any plant in the compound, but make sure you don't destroy them. So in small groups, you can do this in small groups, or you can even do it alone. If you are alone at home, or you have a friend who's nearby, you can do it you together with your friend, or even with your siblings at home. You observe the life processes of the two organisms and record your observations, and then write what you have observed for the plant and for the animal. And then you later on you describe how the organisms carry out these life processes. So in this experiment that you're going to do, you may realize that it may be difficult in some cases, even impossible, to observe some life processes. It may be difficult to observe some life processes. But in that case, you can consult from your textbooks. You can also log into your internet and find out how these processes occur in plants and in animals, especially the organisms you have chosen. And then you may also consult your teacher or even your parent at home for guidance. But at the end of it all, you should be able to come up with a write-up of how plants carry out life processes and how animals carry out life processes and how different they are. So you can make the good use of all these resources. The first resource is yourself. With the organisms you have chosen, you make observation, write up what you can manage, and then when you get challenged, you can consult those things I have told you, the textbooks. You can also consult your teachers, you can consult even your parents or your brothers at home. And then after doing that, please fill in the table below with your responses. For example, we are looking at nutrition. In plants, how does it occur? And then what about in animals? How does nutrition occur? What about respiration? How does it occur in plants and then in animals? So you do that for all the life processes that we have, all the 7 life processes, and then you send me your answers in my inbox. I would be happy and glad to see your wonderful responses. And then, now that we are ending this chapter, usually we do what we call activity of integration to see whether we have understood all what we have looked at in the previous lesson. This activity combines all the knowledge that we have got from all the topics, all the lessons we have had so far in this chapter. So in this activity of integration, we are assuming that you have now learned something, and we assume that you are a member of the nature club or an environmental club in your school. Yes, and the club is developing an environmental campaign for members of the community that lives near a forest, which is a home to a troop of baboons. So there is a community living in a forest, and that forest has very many baboons. And for you are a member of a nature club, and you are supposed to help them. The baboons regularly destroy the crops in the community's gardens. So you know baboons eat crops, maize, and so on. The community members plan to get rid of these baboons permanently, and we don't know how they are planning to do it. Maybe they want to kill all of them. Yes. The nature club has to raise awareness about respect for living things. Remember, you're a member of the nature club, and for you are protecting environment. But at the same time, you want to protect the farmers also. So you are given these 4 animals, these 4 organisms, sorry. You have the crops, you have the farmer, you have the dog, and then you have the baboon. Yes? So these are the animals that you have: the baboon, the crops, the dog, and the farmer there. So using your knowledge from the life processes we have learned so far, we want you to draw a chart or a poster including these 4 organisms to show how they are related, to show the relationship between them, and how probably which one relates with the other for the good of the farmer. Yes, how will the farmer benefit from this relationship? So draw a chart illustrating how these organisms uh, relate with each other. Remember, you're a member of the nature club and you want to protect all these organisms, but at the same time you don't want the farmer to lose from the baboon's behavior. So you draw an illustration, a beautiful illustration, and then you take a photo and send it to me. How these organisms can best relate for the good of everyone. So that is the assignment you have. And remember, in the future you may become a minister of environment. You can become a member of the environmental activism, and you may be interested in protecting the environment. And these are the challenges you may be faced with. You can be sent to a community facing this similar problem, and you are the solution. So you do that and send me your responses. So members, in this chapter, this is what we have looked at. We looked at biology as a branch of science that deals with the study of living things. This is what we did in the first lesson, where we defined biology. We also defined different biological terms and branches that are applied in biology, where we looked at zoology, botany, physiology, and others. So that's what we looked at in this topic, and I know that you still remember them. If not, please check your summary book and find out. And then we also looked at the fact that all living things, all living organisms, perform life processes that distinguish them from non-living things. And we looked at the different life processes, the 7 of them, the 7 major life processes we looked at. I hope you still remember them. Uh, that's what we looked at also in this chapter. And there are 7 processes that enable all living things to survive. So By the end of this lesson, by now, I expect that you should be able to know those 4 things to constitute the summary for this chapter. In the next chapter, we shall continue looking at many things, and I want to meet you in the next lesson. Please stay at home, do the assignment, and then send it to me. Thank you for listening.